Welcome to the Ashleie Elaine podcast, where soul meets strategy, spirit meets systems, and healing becomes your legacy. This is a space for visionaries, healers, builders, my cycle breakers, and leaders who know they're here to create more than just ideas. They're here to build something that will last. We talk about all things from spirituality to healing, public health to birthing your soul purpose. So, whether you're birthing a program, intervention, a business, reimagining your current work, or reclaiming your whole life's rhythm, you are in the right place. Let's begin. Most people chase ideas without a plan. Like, yes, we feel this, ooh, I should do this, or I wonder what this looks like if I do whatever this idea is. I feel it in my soul. And that's why so many programs never really get off the ground. I had to learn this my own hard way. This episode, we are talking about the difference between inspiration and creation because really you don't need another idea. You need a birthing plan for the one you already have. So get your notebooks, get your tea, get your coffee, find that comfy space, and let's get into it. So there's a lot of ideas that we have, right? And I want to be clear on we are here for a purpose, for such a time as this. And a lot of what we are called and cultivated to create the ideas that we have are meant to serve people. Yes, at some point they serve us. They give us what we need for sustainability, for pleasure, sense of self, all of the things. Yet there's a lot of ideas that we have that never really get off the ground because we just do without pausing, resting, and strategizing. So there's three different things that I'm going to talk about. One, we're going to talk about inspiration versus implementation. Ideas don't have any structure. They don't have any bodies. They don't have anything. They have no container. There's nothing to it yet, right? Think about when a baby is born. Before the baby gets here, the baby is a thought. It's a thought that we may not have, but there's an action that has to happen for the baby to actually get implemented. This is the same thing with an idea. You can have the idea all day, but until you actually put a body to the idea, it is merely just inspiration. Like now you're just inspired. What is the work that needs to be done to bring this idea into an actual body form? The next thing is a birthing plan. So I've done I've done this before. I'll probably do it again. I did like a 3-day master class not last year but the year before on what I learned working at Victoria's Secret. The biggest thing I learned working at Victoria's Secret, I actually like loved working there. I even tried to apply to work there again and God was like, "Girl, no, your time is up there." I'm like, "Cool." Outside of the fantabulous discounts and the free bras and discounted bras that we would get, which has changed tremendously over time, um, I worked in the back room. I love the back room because I didn't have to engage with customers. I was in charge of the flow of pushing out what was in the back room onto the floor, making sure there was replenishing being done, stocking the underwear, the bras, the nightwear, the all of it, right? I loved working in the back room because I could zone out and just do my thing. I then became a manager of the back room, so that was less zoning out, more getting my team in line, but also working alongside of them, listening to what they need. What did they need to be successful at at getting the job done? I had to run maybe one or two segments a day, and it was either like early the first segment of the day or the last segment of the day, which was closing. I would have my nights when I needed to close the store. So it worked for me to do that because then I would be able to see, well, what needs to be replenished for the next day, what was coming into the store that we needed to be replenished, what were customers asking for, like all of those things. Hindsight looking back, like that was pretty strategic. But I hated being on the floor. One, because every store that I worked at, because of how tall I am and the height of theft management, depending on which store that I worked at, because I've worked at stores in Orlando, I've worked at stores in Greensboro, and I've worked at stores in Jersey, and also in Tampa. But depending on which store, which I'm thinking about the high volume store I worked at in Orlando, I was always stuck in the front room and I hated it. I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to I didn't want anyone to ask me anything. I didn't want to stand still. I didn't want to just stand there. But because of my height, people thought that I would be a threat and somehow reduce risk management, which don't know how they got that impression from me. Um, because my thing was the back room, right? I remember uh a manager even telling me, I think this last time that I worked at Victoria's Secret, even telling me, listen, you are the heartbeat of the store. Yes, no, not this last time, but it was Tina. Oh, I miss her. That was probably one of my favorite managers. But she's the one that actually promoted me to manager at a different store and told me that I was ready, that she was going to miss me leaving her store, but that like she just couldn't stop ramping and raving about how organized and neat and what system and flow I had in place for the back room. And like I remember her telling me, listen, the back room is the heartbeat of the store. If the back room is not right, nothing else goes right in this store. And I never really thought about that. If the strategy, the consistency, the flow, the knowledge that I needed to know about the product that we had available in the back was not organized in a strategic way to where it would just flow authentically, to where like if me or someone from my team wasn't there that day, they knew, like the workers knew where they needed to go, but also like put the shit back the way you found it, nothing else would go right. The whatever happens out on the floor is not going to go right. Two things. One, and I'm having like a prophetic download as I'm sharing this story. I think when I tried to do this master class the first time 2 years ago, I was just excited about doing it, and like I can look back and see where I missed some things. So I probably will do it again. But two things: your inner work, the inner workings of you are important for everything that happens externally. How you strategize, how you handle disappointment, how you handle joy, how you engage with opportunity, how you engage with people. Your inner world is going to reflect everything external. Where you set boundaries, how you set boundaries, the clarity you have or don't have, where there's confusion, who your target audience is, all of those things. If you know the inner workings of you, you will find alignment and authenticity in what you do. You will authentically align and meet the people that you need to to get you where you need to go, and not in like a manipulative way or like a I'm using you type of way, but we are all here to guide each other back home to ourselves and through this thing called life. We are all mirrors of one another. So our inner world is always going to be changing and healing and tending to old wounds that are going to pop up because now you're ready to face it so that you can heal it and rise to the next level of whatever it is that you need to. I shared a couple episodes ago about like really looking at where I was leaking energy, and it comes from being a people pleaser because I wanted to please everybody and be there for everybody. Just because I'm a helper and a healer doesn't mean that I have to deplete myself and give everything away. That's not how that works. That's not how any of it works. So, and then I realized in that moment that yes, the strategy that I put in place for this back room, the heartbeat of the store, is important for the strategy that happens out on the floor. If my strategy is clear and concise and readable, then the strategy for whatever's on the floor can be done 10 times more, 10 times easier, and 10 times more flow. All right, those are the two spaces. The other part of this job that I so dearly loved, especially when I worked at the Pink Store, when Pink Stores were popping up solo, were the floor sets. With every floor set, first of all, it was like a party. Oh my God. We'd be up, like floor sets would happen 6 in the morning or like late at night, right before the store is about to close. And I mean, we're pulling all nighters to do like to flip this whole entire store. Sometimes the floor sets are just one room, one wall, one beauty cabinet, whatever it is. And then sometimes you're flipping the whole store. You're flipping this panty bar all the way to the back of the room. You're flipping this bra wall all the way over there because that they're not selling as fast. They're not selling as good. So now there's a promo and we got to put the promo stuff back here. There's new sleepwear coming out because this celebrity is in the promo and we got to put it up here. That's holiday season. Like the floor sets were out of control and I love them, right? It was like a chaotic system that was just like popping glitter and color all over the place. Um, I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it so much. So the benefit of working in the back room, having the strategy in the back room was also, oh, when there's a floor set, I can start setting what is needed for this floor set in advance, right? Follow me. I can start setting what is needed for this floor set in advance so that when, if I'm working the floor set or not, it's already ready to go. Bam, we cut time in half. Because also the floor sets come with brand guides. The purpose of this brand guide is to one, know what product you need and to ensure that you have it so that the walls and the floor set can be full and in its abundance and shoppable and ready for the clients coming in. Two, to cut time in half. Because who wants to play a guessing game with their product and their services? Right? Who wants to do that when you have like, and this might be for like my multi hyphenate people like me, right? I'm a manifesting generator. So like my hands are in a lot of different things, but I get a lot of those things done because I have like a really weird system in place and still get rest. But it it cuts the time in half because there's so many different brands within the brand that you need to know how much time is it going to take me to reset this wall and put the product on, right? And then it's got to be color coded, it's got to be size, it's got to be all those things, dress the mannequins, like the whole nine, right? So we would always say, okay, the brand guide is scheduled for 4 hours. What do we need to do to make sure we hit those 4 hours or go under those 4 hours? We don't want to go over those 4 hours. And then, third, the brand guide lets you know, well, what kind of people do I need to make this system effective? Your brand guide is your system, it is your birthing plan. It says, how much time is this going to take? How much time can I cut also? What products and services do I have? And where do they need to be placed priority? All of that, even like color flow, all of that. Like, what is going to allow my store to stand out and pop? Right? Because those windows, when you're walking past Macy's, Lord and Taylor's, PacSun, all of those stores, Victoria's Secret, you're looking at the windows. And if the window's not popping, you're not going to walk into that store, right? That's brand behavior right there. So pulling that in there too, right? Knowing your brand also means knowing your customer, right? So your brand guide is all about time, service, client, product. Those are the things you need for your strategy. Knowing what kind of time you need to put into your service, like when you do the service delivery, knowing your brand, like what do you do, because that needs to translate to the people walking past the window. What kind of client do you already service? Like, who is your client, right? Because if you're in a regular Victoria's Secret and you have a heavy pink custom clientele, you better make sure one of those windows have heavy pink in it so that they can drive up your pink numbers, right? And then um your products. Do you have the capacity for your product? Do you have your product? Which is like, if you're service based, that, right? So your birthing plan, which is your strategy, is all of these. Whatever the idea is that you have, you need this is your blueprint, right? You got to start dissecting that idea down. People laugh at me because I have poster boards all on my wall, but this is how I get the thing from idea to vision. Now, it taken a while? Yes, because some ideas are not meant to be overnight ideas. Actually, nothing is an overnight success, right? There's a lot of you that is intertwined in it, which means you could be blocking certain things also. You could be blocking how the clients are coming in, your language, your marketing, right? In that brand guide, we were also sent a very specific marketing. If bras were not selling and now they wanted to put them on discount, like 2 for $40, we had to put that 2 for $40 sign up in front of those bras, because maybe now they'll sell because they're 2 for $40 and women always need bras, right? If pink underwear, if it was like pink panty parties where underwear went from not three, my God, if they were 3 for $35, no one would buy them probably. But they were 5 for $35 and went up to like 10 for $35 when they were doing this massive clearing, right? To change the brand and the style and the stitching and all these things. Like, they were getting rid of everything because they wanted to start new. There was specific marketing that came, verbiage, the language, the popping of the signs. Are you like, people think that some of that doesn't matter? It matters, because that's where the visibility is, right? So your birthing plan, aka your brand guide, is your blueprint that moves your idea from just a thought to an action, to where you can start embodying, well, what does this actually look like? What does this feel like? What did you feel when you had the idea? And what does it look like to embody it into a service, a product, something that is going to service other people? And then what is the impact, the transformation? The transformation from those bras going from regular price to now being discounted to 2 for 40 is that one, the transformation for the client is they get to spend half the price on two bras instead of full price, which was like 30 something for one bra. Now they get two for 40. Maybe now they'll get a fitting and, they'll figure out what they get to try a new bra, right? They get to add to their collection. They get to find support and don't have to pay an arm and a leg for it. The transformation for the store is they start selling it because now they can get customer feedback and get an understanding of, well, how come this bra hasn't been selling? I think it was a t-shirt bra that I'm thinking about. Because then, like, the regular promotion, the regular sale for the t-shirt bra was always 2 for 40, right? Like, it just stayed that way because of how thin it is. And then the mechanism under your t-shirt, it was like, oh, well, like, we don't really like for our bra to be showing. I don't. So give me a bra that's not gonna make it look like I'm wearing a bra, but that's gonna give me support so it doesn't feel like I'm like hanging low, but also like wearing a bra. The t-shirt bra was fantastic for that. And they stayed on promotion, and then they started creating full coverage, push up, demi, like all these different styles for different customers, right? So your brand guide, your birthing plan lays out how am I going to gain customers to trust me in delivering my service to gain the transformation that they need. We don't want any more ideas. We need impact. We need your idea to go from thought to action to impact. And then the third thing is how to start small but structured, right? So baby steps. Baby steps. Where can you start small? Where can you start small? When I started AEI, I started with just teaching yoga. I literally just started with teaching yoga. And then I had this idea. Well, I was in a coaching program that allowed me to like ask myself, well, what does it look like to intertwine yoga with coaching? And I don't think that was I don't think that was something I initially wanted to do, but I started with yoga in Release and Rise, the first workbook. That was supposed to be a mentoring program because the whole idea was behavior change but utilizing yoga. Again, I had the language, but not really. But I'm also looking at my own healing at this point and looking at the kids and the families and the parents that I've worked with up to this point that were, needing something more, right? That were needing something more than just talk therapy. Because talk therapy is beautiful and somatically, like, I'm talking about trauma to my therapist, and yeah, I'll cry about it, but somatically, like it's still sitting in my body. So how do we get this worked out? Um, but then that coaching program I was in gave me opportunity to say, oh well, what does this look like if I intertwine holistic healing with coaching, right? So we intertwine not talk therapy because I'm not a therapist, but if I intertwine yoga with coaching, right? What does that look like? And it just kind of went from there because I started seeing that, and specifically those clients that I had when I did that specific program, they were healers. Like they were social workers, like licensed social workers. They were in the helping field. So it just made me keep realizing that as healers, we are not giving ourselves the same thing that we give to others, right? As creators, as entrepreneurs, all of that. Like we have to also take care of ourselves. But that was how I started small. And then from there, I just kept building out the structure and expanding it and got to a point where it's like, okay, now I need to stop and look at what do I need for me to hold the vision that I'm now starting to see so clearly, that is now no longer an idea, but is turning into impact because of those few set clients that I had, that I can see it has impacted them in a positive way. Right. So starting small can look like setting a weekly goal for your business. What are you going to do for your business this week? Right. It doesn't have to be the full blown out 9 to 5 thing, because the number of jobs I've completely quit to just trust myself in this game, like, I don't advise unless you were really specifically called to do that. Um, but somebody's got to go first. Um, and then make those baby steps, right? Ask yourself, what kind of system do I need for this container? Because you got to think about the workflow. What is the workflow that is needed to get the client in, and then hold them, right? We're also in a time where people want transparency. They want to see your transformation, to know that what you offer is real, because we no longer want people just telling us, oh, this works. We're like, but what about you? Like, we want to see that you are doing the thing, so that we can trust that you know how to do the thing, and that we can trust you to help us learn how to do the thing, right? So start out small. It doesn't have to be this grandiose thing at the beginning, because you're birthing something, right? Like, think about if you're a mom, or if you've been around newborns. They're so small. They're starting out small. They can't even walk, they can't crawl, they can't do anything. So all you can do is feed it, burp it, change it, put it to sleep. Feed it, change it, burp it, put it to sleep. Feed it, change it, burp it, put it to sleep. That's a system. What kind of system do you have like that for your business, for your program, for to even like create it, right? If you are ready to take your idea off of paper and actually see it grow, you're ready to create your brand guide or birthing plan, whatever you want to, your blueprint, whatever you want to call it. Schedule your soul strategy and vision alignment session with me. This is where we take that idea, that vision for your business, your program, your intervention, and put a system in place for it, right? You can do a 1 hour session, or after that 1 hour session, you can book me for 12 weeks. Um, this is where your vision meets systems that work for what it is that you were called and cultivated to do. And even understanding what your system, your bodily system, needs to be able to bring this idea into action and into impact. So, those 3 points, moving from inspiration to implementation, really understanding what kind of blueprint you need to move your idea from thought to action to impact, and then how to start small and build a structure. Remember that newborn baby is on a system of feeding, sleeping, burping, changing. I love you all for free. Until next time.